Okay, very welcome to this keynote session on science and business. It's really the important strand, I think, in this conference. And I'm happy to see there's many people on site, actually, and also online. Very welcome, all of us, all of you. And whatever comments and questions you have, please put them on Slido, and you see here, and we'll answer them afterwards, after the keynote speech. That will be given by Yousef. Yousef, I'll introduce him very soon. Me talking, I'm Camilla Moder, I'm from Sweden, I'm an engineer, I like solving problems, and we have problems in really using science in business more and more. It's so important, and we'll discuss that very much later on. It's also all about communication between people, the scientists, the businessmen, the entrepreneurs, the politicians, all of them. And Yousef is the CEO and the entrepreneur really starting LG Sonics, which you will tell us a little about what it is, and is also part of the advisory board of the fantastic European Innovation Council that is now running. So please, Yousef, the stage is yours, and give us all about the entrepreneurship and science.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you very much for being here and choosing to listen to science and business instead of enjoying the sun in the Netherlands, which is not happening many times. But it's two words, science and business. Science and business, and we would like to see them as two different words. But if you will look deeper, they are very similar. During today, my keynote, which will take about half hour, I will try to make it as entertainment as it can for you. But also, I would like to share with you some insights. What is an entrepreneur? And what is the role of a researcher on this economical planet? So again, my name is Yousef. I'm the founder and CEO of LG Sonic. Also, I am investor in multiple other startups in the green businesses. I call myself the green guy because I do believe in something called double green. You need to be green for the planet, but you need also to understand the economics and to be green for the dollars, because the combination of the two greens is where the magic happened, where the real impact happened. Speaking about the impact, let's start. So this is a car, I don't think many of you will know it, and definitely nobody have driving it. The name is Koda. In 2011, a group of engineers, they were passionful, busy with building this car. They wanted to make a car by using lithium technology. They want to have an affordable car to go from A to B. The car price was $39,000. They raised about 200 million, and 1 year later, they sold 20 cars and they went bankrupt. It's fascinating to know, in the same year, another car was introduced based on the same technology, definitely the same passionful engineers, but this time the car was 100,000. And it is a huge success for the shareholders, but also the impact around the world. We all know Tesla and what it made for us. So why was one car very successful with the same technology, the same time, the same market, while the other didn't? Let me give you another, maybe funny example. We have the vegetarian burgers. Also, in the year 2011, big thing. Everyone needs to stop eating meat. We start having vegetarian burger. And we know, if you will take a look deeper, this is not a burger. This is a falafel. It's a deep-fried broccoli, right? It doesn't look like a burger. It doesn't taste like a burger. And if you will make something round and put it between two breads, it doesn't make it a burger. So it was never a hit. You know, sometimes you will just cook it or deep-fry it. There is no cooking here. But it didn't get the impact. Again, same year, Beyond Meat. They understood that the market need the texture of the meat. They understood that people would like to smell and have it in their hands as a real burger. And again, without any meat, big successful for the shareholders and the impact around the world. Same story, why that happened. Before I will go about analyzing other companies, let me start with my own company. I have studied here in Leiden tax law and then water treatment, maybe you have read about it. And during my study, I wanted to do an internship in a startup. At that time, it was 2003, 2004, so it's really long time. It gives you also some insights about my age. That's aside. The whole startup thing started to become a hype. So I thought, let's do that. And we went to LG Sonic. At that time, the name was Consultimex. There we were really activist entrepreneurship, I will call it. We wanted to change the world. What was the technology? Very easy. You use ultrasound to clear the swimming pools from chlorine. Is, I would say, very good business. Very interesting technology. 5 years later, we went bankrupt. And why is that? So what happened is when we started the business, or I was like as an intern, and then later on I was in the sales. We were about four people. When we started, we had this idea: people with a swimming pool, they are very rich. So they will buy the device, and the device cost was 2,000 euro, and they will not use any chlorine, which is good for the environment. And they are stupid and they are bad if they will not buy it. That was very simple, our idea. People had to buy our technology because it's so great. You can use technology everywhere, in the swimming pool, in the koi ponds. You can use it in the irrigation reservoirs. But finally, nobody bought it. And we went bankrupt. We were frustrated. The ex-owner came to me in the end of December 2010. And she told me, Yousef, nobody care about the environment. We are going to quit the company. I'm going to Malaysia. And that night, I went back home, and it was very heavy because you have worked so hard. And was it true that nobody give about the environment? And I strongly doubt that. So at that night, I came with the idea. I say, no, we were just not entrepreneurial enough. We didn't have a customer in mind. We had everyone in mind. So what I did that night, I thought, like, okay, let's change the approach. We will not sell technology. We will focus on one type of customer, and we will redesign the technology to fulfill the need of that customer. So I choose the largest water surfaces, drinking water reservoirs, hydraulic dams. And why I choose that market? I thought a swimming pool, like the assumption people will buy it because they are rich, is a very wrong assumption. People will buy stuff because they need it. There is a need you need to fulfill. And what is the need in the swimming pool? To reduce the $2 chlorine tablet, you throw it in, and you have a clean water? So there was no need in the previous company. In the new company, the need was economical need. Once you will use our technology, you don't need to use active carbon anymore. And that's equally to dollar number. And to do that, we needed also to change our approach. It was not anymore a small device you have to install it by hand. No, it needs to be middle in the reservoir. And if it's in the reservoir, it needs to be solar paneled. So we really, from the customer need, we redesigned and re-engineered the whole technology. And when we did that, something interesting happened. We were selling ultrasound, right? But the customer with this large surface water, they wanted something else. And that was monitoring the water quality. And we thought, hey, we can do also monitoring. We need this monitoring data to able to change the ultrasound program, because once we will change it, we can clean the water from the algae, cyanobacteria, and other organisms, the bad ones. So once we understood what is the customer need, we start engineering it. So we add the data sensor package. And that was a big thing, because suddenly we were solving one of the biggest problems in the water industry at that time. We were giving them real-time data on the water quality. They can plan what will happen in their water treatment plant. And then we are reducing the active carbon in their plant. Returns of investment, 1.6 years. Lifetime of the project, of the product, 10 years. So we went to have a good customer, a good pilot. We went to American Water, the largest drinking water company in the United States. We told them, this is the buoy. It didn't look so beautiful at that time. So we told them, this is the buoy. Can you please take a look at it and see if it will create any value for you? And it did. 6 months later, they told us they reduced the chemical use to 0. And it's the first green, right? Green for the planet. But the other green was also there, because they told us the returns of investment is 1.6 years. So we were celebrating, we opened champagne, we drink champagne, and then we went to the next customer, and we told them, American Water is using our technology, you can do that too. And we give them the papers, and then we start scaling. And at this moment, we are active in 69 countries, 5 offices. It's the total value of the company, it's around between the 20 to 50 million. And why I'm saying between, because I'm still 100% owner. We didn't need to raise any money. And why is that? Because the product was designed to make profit. So what I really would like to give you today is understand, once you are designing a technology, is don't be in love with the technology. The technology will not sell it itself. You need to start with one type of customer and then re-engineer back his need to a technology. So it's not a technology to the market, it's a market to a technology. So let me go a bit fast on the couple of next slides. So this is a project we did in Dominican Republic. 2.5 million people were drinking from that water. And it's full of cyanotoxic. The water was really of a bad quality. The worst thing is the water treatment plant couldn't treat it. So the people were using that dirty water. And let's be honest, the rich people will not drink that water because they will drink the Spa Blau or whatever bottled water it is over there. The poor people drink it. So here it comes. I got that project. I was doubted if it will work because it was so huge. It was a huge hydraulic dam. So I told them we never did that. We came back to the R&D team. We sit with the scientists. We told them, like, guys, this needs to work. This is the biggest impact we can have on a human by far in our history. So we did that. 3 months later, that was the water quality. That's my hand. It's a couple of years younger. And it was amazing because one thing we did well is we don't only clean the water, we were able to collect all this data and to give it back to the water treatment plant to improve their water treatment facilities. So let me now go to an important question. What is an entrepreneur? Some of you will see the entrepreneur as just, somebody which would like to earn money. I think pretty much yes. But a real entrepreneur, which is actually a French word, a real entrepreneur is somebody which is solving somebody else's problem a bit more efficient than that person will do it by himself. And that little bit is his profit. So that's an entrepreneur. You need to solve problems all the time, all the way. And because of this hype, super hyped startup ideology, every researcher needs to have his own startup. Other way, your invention is not good enough. Actually, that's a bad way of thinking. A researcher don't need to be an entrepreneur. If you would like to be an entrepreneur, please be, but don't feel the pressure to be an entrepreneur or to start your own business because it's not necessary. What you need to do is something completely else. Of course, you can go to the technology transfer offices in your university and tell it like, can we start a business? And they will tell you, here you have 200,000 euro, you can start your startup. And you will be on a couple of magazines how proud you are to start a business. And then the problem will start, because you need to hire people. You need to fire people. You need to motivate people. You need to raise money. So selling your technology to VCs, which are sharks, you will think, I didn't sign for that. I would like to do further my research. I would like to do further product development. I have these crazy ideas. Other people need to do it. And exactly that's why you need to have other types of cooperation. That other type of cooperation is licensing. So we know it all. You have your invention, you will have a patent, you go to the technology transfer office, and you tell him, here I have my patent. And nobody will look at it. So my advice is you need to combine both of these cooperation types. The first one is the entrepreneurial, the second one is the licensing. And in the middle lies actually your role as a researcher with this amazing innovation. First, make your innovation known. Not with your peers, not with these scientific papers nobody is reading other than the other researchers. Make yourself known by going to kind of your customers. So if it's water innovation, go to LG Sonic and tell them, I have this invention, would you like to licensing? So you need to do a bit of sales and a bit of promotion of yourself and your invention. So people will be interested in you. And then hire a good lawyer and a good accountant and let them do the negotiation for you. A license as soon as possible your technology, because you will be granted by some amount of money to do the more research and to come with much more inventions. So to give you the two types of great scientists in our history, we have on one hand Edison, which was a great entrepreneur. And on the other hand, we have Tesla, which was a great innovator. Both of them, they were using their intelligence to change the world. Both of them changed the world in their way. But I don't see that they are similar profile. So don't get in the hype of, I have to start my business, otherwise my invention is not interesting. I really think it will be very important as a researcher to focus on your strategy. Should I start the business? I would say most of the time, don't do it. 1 out of 10 will be bankrupt within 5 years. So, just for your information, if I will choose 10 people from here, I will give you parachutes and we will go skydiving. And I will say, guys, let's jump from the plane, but only one parachute will open. How many of you will jump out of the plane? But that's actually the risk of a startup. So the other cooperation is, again, the hybrid mode, what I am really like big fan on, promote your own invention to your own end users. So look who they are, look to your invention, who is the key player there, promote it there, and sign as soon as possible a licensing agreement. And the last one is just do your thing. In the university, ask for fund. We have the European Innovation Fund. We have the research funds you all know. Those are the three things. But I think the most important, as a researcher, you have to do the things you really love doing it. And there is not one thing all the researchers need to do. Each researcher and each innovator is a completely different profile. So that's actually my talk. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed it.
Okay. Thank you, Yousef, for your inspiring speech, really saying you love the market. I'm an engineer. I love science. I love solving problems. I love business. I didn't say market, and that's the important thing, actually, to understand what do other people need. So you really painted the picture that we all should think of. And you're talking about how important it is for the researchers and everybody to really understand that entrepreneurship is something else. What do you think is the main problem, really, the biggest issue to solve in the relations between science in universities and entrepreneurs and business?
It's a very difficult to answer question, honestly speaking, because I do believe like the technology transfer offices in the university are doing their best. But there is a valuation problem. So because I have done many of this kind of licensing and negotiation with the technology transfer offices. And the problem there is they see that the technologies are ready into the market. So the valuation will be like, oh, that's so great technology. But they don't understand from that level to bring it to the market, we need to hire a marketing person, which will cost, let's say, 85,000 a year, to promote it, and to go to exhibition will cost about 100,000. So, and they will say, no, but you don't need that. So I think the solution lies when we will both understand and appreciate the work need to be done before the innovation will become a product. So from an entrepreneur, we will always underestimate it. We're saying, yeah, but if we will hire just maybe 2 engineers, and they will work for about 6 months, they will be able to do the same. Or I think you can improve that and add that function just with the 3 months with a payment of 10,000. So I think we are, as an entrepreneurs, heavily underestimated the work of R&D because we don't understand it. And I think the researchers, or not the researchers, actually the technology transfer offices, they underestimate what it takes to bring a product to the market.
You're talking about understanding the market, not about marketing, because it's really something different that you have to, as you pronounced it, an entrepreneur is the one solving somebody else's problem in a better way than that person can do him or herself.
Yeah.
And that's why researchers are looking on other problems than the market is looking at. And that's why you think it's so important to sort of change the mindset of the universities, the tech officer, or what?
Yeah, I don't think I want to change the mindset of anyone, because changing anyone's mindset is very difficult. I just would like to give the more options for the entrepreneurs, but also for the researchers to understand there is many roads you can take. And again, like I don't blame the researchers or the universities, but it's more an obligation to start up businesses. And I think that's what I'm against. Starting up a business is not a goal itself.
Exactly.
Everyone can start a business. Very few people can scale a business. And that's what I try really to push into the mindset of the technology transfer offices.
Let's see, we're getting some questions here.
It's a good one.
Which one you would like to?
Yeah, how can researchers find the way to entrepreneurs? They live in a different... Yeah.
I thought it was. Okay.
Oh, is it now? Yes.
Yeah, now it comes.
How can I help them? Yeah, it's
Thank you.
That's actually really a good question.
Yeah.
So what the researchers can do is first have a couple of talks with the market, like who is my customer? So let's say your invention is in measuring the salt into water. And you can do that in tap water, but you can do that in industrial water, and you can do that in the sea, and the oil and gas industry. The market is big. So what I will do first is I will have a couple of interviews with a couple of potential market end users. Once I will collect the data, I will go to the technology transfer offices and I will ask their advice. So get a commercial person next to you, do a couple of these interviews, and see where can you create the most value. Which problem can you solve? And once you solve a problem, remember, it needs to be a medicine and not a vitamin. So what I mean by that, we all know we need to get some more vitamin D, right? But we don't do it because it's a vitamin. It doesn't hurt. But if a doctor will tell us, you need to use this medicine, we will take it every day at the same hour. So your innovation needs to be a medicine for the market. Avoid the vitamin market, because it's very, very hard to introduce new technologies to the market.
Using the word market sometimes offends other people. They think it's not a market, it's my personal thing. So perhaps it's all about communication between different reflecting people in society with different perspectives. And we have to understand that you should use words that is important to the one you're solving the problem for.
And we need also to accept we are living in an economic planet. That's why I give the first example of Tesla and Koda. Tesla finally really changed the car industry. It was not an NGO. It was definitely not a technology. It was a large-scale company which has the biggest impact on the car industry. And that's an important thing to consider. If you really would like to change the world, you will need this large scale.
Can we see the other questions again, please?
Can universities or research organization make money from tech transfer, or should it be seen as part of the third role? I will say definitely they they need to make money. So yes, but they need. At this moment, it's very obvious if you would like to make money from an university, that the easy way is to go to the government and to tell them how many startups you are going to create and how many job creation is going to happen, and then you will get money. And I think that's a wrong way of money creation. That's based on taxpayers, and I don't agree on that one. I think the universities need to have a very fancy, good-looking website where they will explain the innovations they have and the patents in a very good way. And they need to have more or less a standardization line where they will be able to license this technology to the industrial players.
To give money both to industrial players, large companies and startups, and growing companies as yours.
Scaling up,
Sometimes it's just discussed about startups, but it's also important to get innovations into old-fashioned, large entrepreneurs.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's don't go only on the startup mindset. You have the startup scale up and the large corporation, and we need all of them to scale technologies.
Let's see what more. What about implementing your message into undergraduate education of scientists, and if so, how? Do you have any ideas of that?
I do believe, like 10 years back, it was not so obvious, like to combine science with entrepreneurship and business development and business classes. But nowadays, at least in the Netherlands, there are many of these kind of lectures for the students. So
I think perhaps this question could be like, are you wanting, as a very busy entrepreneur and CEO of a large worldwide company, are you available to give lectures?
Yes.
Can you find the time to do that? Because that has been some discussions also in the university.
Absolutely, yes.
And do you think you have many friends in other companies that are, or is this something that we have to sort of convey?
I have had a discussion with the chairman of the University of Leiden, Annatje, about exactly that. I think what we need to do is we don't need to have this small course where we will educate the students to become entrepreneurs and start the business. I think we need to have an in-depth lecture about what it is to scale businesses and how does the market work. The risk of the market as well. So definitely. But I do see these two worlds coming more and more.
And it's important to show what different kinds of talents you need to scale up or run a business and run a research area. That's something you are, I think, very important for you.
Yeah, and one thing we didn't cover is actually once you will found a business, is very important, obviously, to have a good founders team, which is most of the time it need to be with different background, but not too much diverse with the mission of the company. So you should not have a diverse team in the mission. The mission need to be very clean and clear. And then diversity within the founder team is very important with the background. So you have to have the engineer, the marketer, and the banker.
And you have to be clear that there is a risk of starting a company.
They will notice that very quick.
You just gave that picture. You were almost closing down before you changed the mission.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see more. What is key advice for young researchers to analyze consumer need? Are they supposed to analyze that?
What's the key advice for young researchers to analyze customer need? Key advice for young researchers to analyze the customer need. Yeah, I think talk with the customer. Find your top 10 potential customer and talk to them. So I think go out of the university or out of the research lab, go to the market and respect the market. So what I mean is, once you will have the chance to have an interview with the operation manager in a company, take the time really serious and prepare your questions. Because what we will see is, we have, again, what I said in the keynote, we have this activism in us. Like, you have to use this technology. Mm-hmm. Believe me, like implementing a new technology in an operational system is very hard. So to an operation manager to introduce a new technology or a new invention, he needs to take a huge risk. You need to have like 10 times better product before he will change from the old-fashioned technology to the new one. So my key advice is go to the market, have a lot of discussion with them, and have this in-depth interviews where you will take their advice serious.
So what you're really saying is that the researcher shouldn't go to a company and say, I have the technology that you should use that would change you. The researcher should go there and say, what are your problems?
Exactly.
What can we help you to solve this problem? Is that is
that's
your message?
That's absolutely the right question. What is the problem you have, which one of my invention can help you solving?
Yeah. Listen, let's see the other questions.
And well done customer discovery. That's too difficult. Like 43, maybe some numbers. 43% of the European Innovation TET funds EU goes to life science, while the global market is much more diverse. What is the situation in Europe? You only have chance in LGS. Yeah, it's a complicated question. As it looks in Europe.
Life sciences is so attractive to people because it turns about my health. That's why I think life science is always getting more interest, isn't it? Even if we now start seeing the problem with energy or problem with water, clear water, as you say. I mean,
I do believe really in the market power. So it's 43% at this moment. Maybe the life science is very interesting. I will say the next 100 unicorns, let's say companies valued over over $1 billion. It will not be in the life science. It will be in the green business, in the climate-related businesses. So I think that's just like a moment in the time. It's 43. It's life science, but it will change. It's the market demand will correct that number. So I do believe much more money will go to green businesses in the next 10 years.
Does anybody know what it was 10 years ago? It wasn't 43%, perhaps?
Exactly, and definitely it will, we will say it's digital. It will be like much more digital. We will expect 10 years back nowadays will be much more digital technologies investment like Facebook, Instagram. But we see like this kind of companies are becoming less interest. Now we see the fintech is very financial technology companies are really raising. And now we see also like they are bit lower interest, and we see now the green and the carbon offset market, those kind of green companies, they are extremely interesting at this moment to invest and to found.
So you're consequent, market focus. let's see that was in the US, they say you have to fail with 2 startups to make successful. That's very different.
Yes, we don't tolerate failure. That's so what he's saying, like in Europe, we don't tolerate failure, and which is completely true. In US is, like they have a different look at what is an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is a person which is moving fast, trying to fulfill the market need, and once he will fail, he will learn from it and he will move further.
Exactly.
While in Europe in general I don't know why, but we don't like to take too big risk, and that's a problem in also economy. So you can already see that we don't have European Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. We don't have an Alibaba. They are all coming from US or from China. So even TikTok. So what I mean, why we weren't able to have these unicorns so often? Why did we miss it? It was not because we didn't have the technology, because we do have the brightest researchers. We have the best universities around the world, but we fail to scale them to a global companies. So, and I think, why is that? Because we don't take too big risk. The venture capital money available is not in a, I would say everyone is a little bit leaning back and don't want to take too much risk, while in the United States is go big or die.
Do you think in Europe we don't appreciate the entrepreneurs, we don't appreciate the people that take risk, and how can we change that?
No, I do think we get as entrepreneurs and business owners enough appreciation. But I do think like we are looking differently on it. So we don't love money in Europe. We think like money is dirty. And I was studying in the university over here, and we have the logo of one of the groups we were at is smelling the money, which means like money is not dirty, because I was studying tax law. But it's an interesting aspect. Like in United States, you show off when you are rich.
Yeah.
You talk about, I want to be a millionaire. And which is what they call it, American dream. It's their dream to become financial independent, right? In Europe over here, if you will talk about being a millionaire or talking about money, that they will find you selfish, they will find you a bad person. So, and I think there also lies a little bit is why they are not big, because they don't, in Europe, we don't dare to dream big and to communicate that dream. And that's a cultural problem. I think it's too broad for the discussion at this moment, but it is true. We shouldn't need to be more proud if we will fail, because that's enough. We are collecting weapons, so we will be able to scale it, dominate the market later on.
Interesting. So let's see again where there's some more.
Shouldn't we start and only incorporate problems in the market more in our study program? It's I think it's not that question.
Why would talented, experienced people work for a fresh, tiny startup? How does one
attract them? Well, that's a nice question. So thank you, Julia, for that question. It's like at this moment, the biggest challenge is not finding customer, is not finding money, is finding the right people, keeping the right people, and also firing the wrong people in Europe, unfortunately. Because in the United States, I have a company in the United States, I have it in the Emirates, I have it in Brazil. Like in the United States and in Emirates, it's so easy to fire people. You just say the magic words, you are fired, and then you pay them 1 month per year, and then you are done, which is very healthy. So they can move to another place where it's much more attractive for them. So, and that's on one hand, very big challenge. On the other hand is, indeed, why should a talented person work in a startup most of the time without free lunch, which the large corporates offer, without the image, like I am working for Amazon, I am working for the Facebook, I am working for Uber. You know, like once you will say, it's much better than I am working for LG Sonic, and then the first reaction, for who? You know, like, who? LG Sonic is a small company, blah, blah, blah. So it is very challenging. And I think what we need to do as a fresh, tiny startups is communicate the why. Communicate why you exist. And as an entrepreneur, definitely don't stay in your office. Go outside, promote your business, promote your mission, and be constant with your message. And then you don't need to attract the wrong people, because that will kill the business. So in the top 3 why business will fail, the first one is they will design a product nobody want to buy.
Exactly.
The second one is they will hire wrong people. And by wrong people, they will overpay them because they are insecure not to have the skills. So they will think, if I will have this 200,000 euro guy from the finance, he will be able to get us all the funds, which is not true. So overpaying people and way too early. And the third one, they will fail to scale. So they will have the first couple of people, and when they will scale by organization or by going global, they will not manage their funds or internal problems, and then they will die. So yeah, it's a challenge. People is the biggest challenge.
It's interesting. You yourself is not what people would say is a typical entrepreneur, because you're not an engineer, not really an economist, but a law person. How come that? I mean, this gives the perspective that there is not one way of doing things.
Exactly. What is your profile? I think that the education is part of who you are. I studied law. I did an executive MBA. I hold 2 patents on water technology. I founded 3 other companies in technology. So, yeah, do you need to be an engineer to be interested in innovation and in technique? I really love technical questions and technologies. If it's the Internet of Things a couple of years back, or if it's microfluid sensors, it's an interest you need to do. So I always say, don't put yourself like, I am that person or I am that person.
Exactly. So that's one of your main messages. There are many ways of doing things. But one very clear thing, when we discussed about the system in US, that it's good to fail, and 1 or 2 times before you do the third one, very good. Is there also in Europe sort of a feeling that you're afraid of doing something wrong? So you're regulating everything, trying to follow the rules, not to make a mistake, because then you'll be fired for that instead of be applauded for taking risks.
Yeah. Let's put it clear. The idea is not to start the business to fail. So sometimes also I hear a startup pitching their company, and I would say, this is going to fail very quick. So no, you should take the money invested in your company and the time of the people working in the company very serious.
Yep.
So sometimes I do see like it as an hype. Everyone is starting to business to put that picture on Instagram, like changing the world, starting my own life, blah, blah, blah. So, like this is now becoming a little bit too much. And that's why we see that the failing rate is also increasing a lot, because people are doing it for the image of being an entrepreneur. Nowadays, it's sexy to be an entrepreneur. So I will say less startups, less numbers, better qualities.
More seriousness.
Yes.
Okay. The conventional financing pathways.
Lead to VCs and private equity doors, to corporate venture funds or alternative. Yeah, absolutely. In Europe, it's a very good question. It will be crazy to go to a VC when you are a startup. In the technical field. So let's because a startup is too many. So if you have a technical innovation, don't go too quick to the market to raise money. There are a lot of institutes which will provide you the finance. One of them is the European Innovation Council. European Innovation Council is by far the most attractive program around the world. We have 10 billion euro available for startup to scale.
And it's very new.
It's very new. It's just like launched last year. We had a pilot of 2.5 years, but it's very challenging. The chance to succeed is about 5%. And why is that? Because it's like the Oscars. Like you need to have a patent, you have to have a founder team, you have to understand the market extremely well. So they are not much interested in the technology. They are much more interested in, can you scale it? Can you dominate the market? Can you have a large global impact? So I would say go for local, national, and European funds before you will go to the VC.
So 5% success rate is even lower than what the
10%.
researchers
Yes.
talk about, like ERC and so on. But the entrepreneurs are not really used to applying and writing applications in the same way as the researchers. Do you think you get a good quality of the applications as well, or have you found a good way to balance between how much paper you need and how?
Yeah, the applying for the EIC has been changed. Nowadays, it's very easy. You will write like a one paper, like one A4. You will supply it, you will have a go or no go, and then you will write like the larger one, and then there is an interview, because we wanted to avoid just people hiring this consulting to write their plan with the very fancy words and very fancy graphs, and that we will have them in the interview, and they are unable to sell their innovation. So, yeah, I think definitely try to find out other financial instrument before you will go to the VCs. VCs need to be the end and not the beginning.
And then it's larger, and it's when you're really scaling up. But the EIC is for startups more.
Yeah, startups to scale.
Yeah.
So in the seed phase, but pre-seed, it need to be from family, friends, and foolish, the 3 Fs. So once you will have a business, the 3 Fs, you know. You go to your family, friends, or foolish people which will invest in your startup. Once you will have this phase, you prove you could pay them back, which I also did. I had 20,000 euro loan from my family. And I told my team when we started, like, guys, you have about 6 months, or we will have a very nice company. I can pay my family back, or I will have no company and one family member less because he will not like me anymore. So it went very good.
And that's a very typical situation for an entrepreneur, you would say, that you always, it's risk-taking personally and generally in many ways.
Yeah.
So, the message to this answer is really do other ways before you go to the venture capitalist.
Yeah.
That's yeah, okay. Let's see what if
Do you think we are over time? So
no, it should be at 12:30.
Yeah. I think we are over time. Can we ask the audience? Are we over time?
We have 10
No?
minutes left.
Okay, then we are not over time. Then I do understand how this is working now.
Yeah. So, oh, you thought we were 12 minutes past?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, because we have 10 minutes. So if you have a question, just type them.
So what would you say are the characteristics of a well-done customer discovery journey?
Yeah.
What are the usual?
Yeah, customer discovery journey. What are the usual phases? Yeah, and time period. It's too broad to answer it. Like there are 3 questions over here. The first one is a well-defined customer discovery journey will start by a desk research where you will find 10 potential customers where you will solve a problem of a medicine and not a vitamin, which I described in the beginning. Mm-hmm. So not a luxury problem. That's where it starts, and it will end by having these many interviews collecting the data from the market.
Okay, there were some more questions, I think.
So
there was more in the study program. Or can we educate entrepreneur skills? I mean, that's a very active discussion.
Yeah. There are many books and research done about that. Is an entrepreneurship a skill you can learn, or I think yes. Yeah. Once you will feel in love with your customer and not with your technology, you will be able to become a very good entrepreneur.
But that's not a skill; it's an attitude.
So it's a way of thinking.
Yep.
So I think you can learn to become an entrepreneur. Like again, remember, like Edison was a really good entrepreneur. He understands the market very, very well. While Tesla was absolutely not an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. He was in love with the technologies. Edison was definitely in love with the market. Mm.
But you can handle it in different ways, you think? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. It's all about people, is that? It's about...
Yeah. Most probably.
Yeah.
The way, I think 50% of the success of the company will lie in their people, working within the company.
So
How will I know? How will I know whether I have what it takes to be an entrepreneur? How did you know that you want to be an entrepreneur instead of a tax lawyer? For me it was easy. I wanted to be an entrepreneur because my father was an entrepreneur. I never met him. He passed away when I was 2 years old. But I heard all this story, how he built his own business and how he became really innovative back then and building this very beautiful company. So I had always this idea to become an entrepreneur. And then my brother and my sister, they were studying law at the university. And they told me, like, yeah, it's a really nice study. So I was good with the numbers. So I thought, like, okay, law is too much language and it's not my strong point. So let's then do tax law. And once I did the tax law, it was very, very interesting. And I knew I will be an entrepreneur within the tax law. So I will start my own firm, and I will have the website, and I will have a software. So, yeah, if you have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, do you want to be an entrepreneur? That's the question, actually. Because an entrepreneur, you are working very hard, much harder than an average person. You are constantly solving people's problem. If it's your customer or your people working for you. So it's not easy. And you are lonely, that I can tell you. Like, there are very few people I will discuss my problem within the company. So a lot of time you will be with your co-founder discussing things, but that's it. And everyone will blame you about anything going wrong in the company. So even people getting their driving license, if they will fail, they will blame the company. I didn't have enough time. They put too much stress on me. I couldn't get my, they will blame you for whatever. So if you love living like that, then please join me as being an entrepreneur. But
it's rewarding, and you still do it, even if you now describe the negative perspectives. What are the real positive perspectives?
It's you can create the impact you want. And I think that's really very, very inspiring. So if I believe in water without chemical in the world, I can do something about it. Like at this moment with LG Sonic, and maybe that's the last story I would like to share. During the Corona, we are a profitable company. And during the Corona, the co-founder came to me, Lisa Brand. It's brilliant person with a huge interest in technology, in water technology. She came to me, she told me, Yousef, we need to do something for NGOs, or we have to donate some money. If we are having a difficulty in Europe, can you imagine how it is in Africa? So I told her, okay, let's then find an NGO and donate like 10,000 euro, and then it's fine, you will feel good about it. And then that night we slept, and I slept, and I came back to the office, and I told her, is it not too easy? Is it not too easy just to pay the 10,000? Yeah. If we are serious about helping people and creating impact, then we need to have our own NGO. And we do understand water. We do have all the data around the world. So why we don't make use of this data to predict the water quality on all the open lakes in Africa? So we created an NGO, Future-Proof Lakes. And at this moment, we are going to monitor all the lakes in whole Africa and making it an open source platform where people can log in, can see the state of their lake, and then they can print the data, and they can go to the local government in Africa and tell them the water quality is becoming worse or better or whatever. So by doing that, that's the power of an entrepreneur. If you will see a problem, you can solve it. And I think I'm not here to promote the entrepreneurship, but I am really here to give you the both words of being a great innovator and great researcher, but also great entrepreneur. Just be yourself and see where your strong skills lies, and just follow your heart in that.
Isn't that a fantastic message you all get here? Thank you all. First of all, thank you, Yousef, for your inspiring lectures that I really hope goes into the hearts of all the audience. And thank you so much, the audience here on site and online, for putting so many good questions and being here and listening to this fantastic thing in a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.